I've become fascinated lately in how the number of people that come and talk to you in private or the private conversations that you have about how the academic system is broken, that the research game is often sort of set up and not the best way. But when you actually go to engage to change it, that people gatekeep it and they want to have it as if it is always the same. And I've been very fascinated in that this is just a curiosity question now that I'm building the reciprocity project is the number of people that actually do talk to me or, the conversations that you bump into that are all about how that there's all these problems with the academic system and yet people just walk away from it when you go and change it. I think that there's several different things that are going on. The first one is that the people that are typically in power got there for a reason, right? So you see this as going on in sort of politics on a regular basis, that they get to a certain area and people try to change it, and nobody wants to change it because they got there based on the system that they were trained in. And it's this endogenous process. It's called endogeneity. And it's fascinating because those people often will say, yeah, it's deeply flawed, but this is how I actually got here and I have to defend this particular system. There's another group of people that recognize the flaws and sort of say that this is problematic, and they go to change it in various different ways, and they get tired of pushing and they give up. And they say, well, you can't change any of these things. These are so deeply rooted in what we actually do that it will never change. Remember, what I'm trying to do here is create a platform for researchers, for scientists, to create what would it be to create non-rejectable research papers and grants? And what would that actually look like for that anybody at any stage can do it, and it's an enjoyable, fun, silly process. And there's nothing that exists like this at this moment. But I find it really fascinating that the number of people that sort of suggest these particular things, but then they don't want to engage in it. Now, the last group I think that people will sort of, you'll look at, sort of people that are pushing back, are the ones that actually believe in the system. They deeply understand, or they can play the game, they can play the system and get ahead. And they're very, very good. It's kind of like the first group that I was talking about. But, they truly believe that that's an effective system and it does really well. And, at various different stages, I am one of these different people. And that's what I find really super fascinating with this problem. It's not necessarily that I am blaming, right? That's not what I'm actually saying. I'm just more curious. Why is it that when you try to do something and you spend a whole bunch of money and resources and time to change the system, the research system, that nobody engages in it? Nobody actually really does have a passionate call in the same sort of way. There's people, there's pockets that sort of recognize this, but it's been a lot more difficult than I thought it would be to build this thing. I thought it would have been very easy because people recognize the problem, and the people that are in it understand all of the things that I'm actually talking about. They'll be laughing at this moment. They will completely understand everything. And the thing that you have to recognize is that, I was thinking, okay, if this is the case, with this deep skepticism, people are gatekeeping, they really, in private, they sort of come out and say that, oh yeah, this is a problem. In public, this is an age-old problem. That people will recognize these things as about social movements, essentially, that have been around for a long, long time, like the civil rights movement and things like that. The thing that people will recognize is that coming out and sort of addressing these things is often viewed as a risk. right? Like you are that one person that nobody really trusts around, right? I recognize that. They look at me like I'm a kind of a nutty person and that I'm going to do something that's going to out them and, all of those kind of things. I recognize all of those things. And it's fascinating because how do you pursue change in a positive way such that people believe in it? And, it's not even the sense that they notice the change, it's just that it becomes who they actually are. And that is a very difficult thing. There's only a few things that you notice that there's quantitative changes, quantitative leaps and changes. ChatGPT when it first came out, basically railways when they came out, these things are sort of quantitative leaps in terms of, what people possibly can do. But in general, for the most part, I don't think people adjust very well to these things, and they want to defend what they always knew and what they always understood. And it's, for me, I'm curious in what people's thoughts are, what your thoughts are of how you actually address this. How do you go about of pushing the envelope on what the problem actually is, and so it's sharp and people understand it and they're very clear, but at the same time, don't make people too upset with what you're actually doing, so that gatekeeping feeling, that sort of fear feeling creeps in and pushes back. I don't have a good answer to that other than just being as real and authentic as possible. And for me, this is very much a risk. When I go about and pursue these things, I'm always scared. Am I going to be on the news? Am I going to be that one person that is reaching out and helping people, and then something nasty happens to them because I'm on the internet? All those things are very deep fears that I have when I do this, and I completely sympathize with anybody that goes through changing systems and they go about of recognizing these things, because all of the institutions that are associated with it, from the funders to the more senior people, the presidents, all those kind of things, to people that are at the beginning, in the system, they fear the change that it possibly could happen, and they're doubtful. And how do you harness that is the fundamental question. From my view, the only way you can harness that is through authenticity and being real and repetition. And the more that I can do this, the better off that I am in pursuing these things. But that's the only solution I know of. I don't think that there's a faster way. And I'm frustrated. I'm, scared and nervous all of the time. But what do you do? What's the alternative? I guess that's it, where you just keep pushing against the envelope one little day at a time until something happens, until enough people see it that they fundamentally change. I don't know. I'm doubtful that will ever happen at this moment after doing this for almost 10 years. Very doubtful. Take care and have a wonderful day.